Well, 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 look who's off to the World Economic Forum in Davos. It's our Chancellor, Rachel Reeves. She's jetted off to Switzerland, but serious questions arise about her priorities and the state of the UK economy. So while Rachel Reeves rubs shoulders with the global elite, Britain here faces mounting economic challenges that demand rather a lot of urgent attention, I think. Of course, we know the government has a special place for Davos in its heart.
Let us just ask you quickly, you have to choose now between Davos or Westminster.
Davos.
Why?
Because Westminster is too constrained and, it's closed and we're not having meaning. Once you get out of Westminster, whether it's Davos or anywhere else, you actually engage with people that you can see working with in the future. Westminster is just a tribal shouting place.
Well, there you go. From Keir Starmer's own mouth. He prefers Davos over Westminster. Make of that what you will. Anyway, the annual gathering of world leaders, business tycoons and celebrities in the Swiss Alps has long been criticised as an out-of-touch echo chamber for the wealthy and the powerful. This year is absolutely no exception, with Reeves eagerly joining the festivities despite the pressing issues facing ordinary Brits back home. To put it bluntly, Davos showcases the global elite at its absolute worst, vacuous and condescending. It's also the epitome of crony capitalism, something Labour say they don't like. It's big government and it's big business colluding to come up with ways to solidify their positions, often leading to regulations that hurt small businesses and us consumers alike. And while Rachel Reeves claims to be drumming up foreign investment, the reality is that her own policies are already driving wealth creators away from the United Kingdom. The exodus of millionaires has accelerated dramatically, with Britain losing a net 10,800 millionaires in 2024 alone, a staggering 157% increase from the previous year. And what does that mean for the rest of us? Well, it means our taxes are going to have to go up. And this number includes 78 centimillionaires and 12 billionaires fleeing what they see as an increasingly hostile business environment. Now, as Reeves sips champagne in Davos, the UK economy lies in tatters. GDP growth stagnated in the third quarter of 2024, leaving Britain joint worst performing among G7 economies. Inflation surged to 2.6% in November, the highest rate since March 2024. Consumer and business confidence have plummeted across major industries. And don't forget, the pound and government bonds faced market turmoil earlier this month amid fears of stagflation. Well, these dire economic indicators paint a picture of an economy crying out for bold leadership and decisive action. Instead, Rachel Reeves seems more interested in hobnobbing with the global elite than addressing the root causes of Britain's economic malaise. Well, the Labour government's crackdown on the non-DOMs, their tax status and other punitive measures are clearly having predictable consequences. Rachel D'Souza, a tax partner at RSM UK, well, she confirms that demand for relocation advice has skyrocketed, driven first by those with non-DOM status and later by entrepreneurs fleeing an increasingly hostile business climate. Former Business Secretary Jacob Rees-Mogg didn't mince his words. He states that Reeves has made the UK a hostile environment for foreign investors, which will not be improved by sipping cocktails in Davos. He rightly called for a complete policy reversal, including reinstating non-DOM status to try and stem the tide of wealth creators abandoning Britain. This is where ideology meets practicality. Now, Reeves claims her Davos trip is about attracting foreign investment. But surely her actions speak louder than words. The co-founder of Cobra Beer, Lord Billy Moria, warns that planned hikes in employer national insurance will damage business. That was her idea. Now, this comes on top of other growth-stifling policies that are eroding Britain's competitive edge on the global stage. The Chancellor seems more concerned with virtue signalling to her fellow elites than addressing the real concerns of British businesses and workers. Her defence of the budget's changes rings hollow when faced with the stark reality of capital flight and economic stagnation. And elsewhere, research from the London School of Economics highlights a growing divide between the UK's elites and the rest of the population. And it's not just economic, it's also social. Reeves' eager participation in the Davos circus only serves to reinforce this troubling trend. Labour is supposed to be the party of the working class, but yet Rachel Reeves is happy in Switzerland, hobnobbing with the global elite.
At GB News, we believe in the power of free speech. We're not afraid to ask the tough questions, challenge the status quo, and give you a voice. While others silence dissent, we champion the truth. By becoming a GB News member, You're not just supporting free speech, you're defending it. Please consider supporting us today. Together, we'll hold the powerful to account and make sure that your voice is always heard. Simply go to gbnews.com/support and stand with us for what matters most.
Now, as ordinary Brits struggle with the cost of living crisis and, of course, the economic uncertainty at the moment, the sight of their Chancellor hobnobbing with billionaires in the Alps is sure to leave a bit of a bitter taste. There really is a disconnect between the political class here and the people they claim to serve, and it's never been more apparent. So if Reeves truly wants to attract investment and drive economic growth, she needs to abandon these failed policies of high taxes and excessive regulation. Instead of courting the Davos elite, she should be focused on creating business-friendly policies and an environment that encourages innovation, entrepreneurship and job creation right here in Britain. Now, the UK has tremendous potential, but is currently being squandered by misguided leadership. We're the second largest services exporter in the world after the United States. Britain should be leveraging those strengths, not driving away the very people who create wealth and opportunity. It is not a good thing if more than 10,000 millionaires leave this country in just 1 year. Well, what Britain needs now is not empty platitudes from Davos, but concrete action to unleash the country's economic potential. Why not start with reversing the crackdown on non-dom status to keep wealth creators in the UK? Why not cut red tape and simplify regulations to make it easier for businesses, particularly small businesses, to thrive? Why not lower taxes across the board to incentivize investment and job creation? And focus on improving productivity through targeted investment in education and infrastructure, not just low-skilled immigration. And lastly, embrace free trade and reduce barriers to international commerce. Well, in essence, it's time for Rachel Reeves to put Britain first. As Rachel Reeves mingles with the global elite in Davos, she'd do well to remember that her primary responsibility is to the British people, not impressing the global elite. The UK economy desperately needs leadership that understands the challenges facing ordinary businesses and workers. It's time for her to abandon these failed Labour policies that drive away wealth creators and stifle growth. Instead, she's chasing photo ops in the Swiss Alps when she should be rolling up her sleeves and tackling the real issues holding back the British economy. I reckon the people of Britain deserve better than a Chancellor more interested in rubbing elbows with the Davos crowd than addressing the economic crisis at home. It's time for Rachel Reeves to get her priorities straight, and I think that means putting the interests of ordinary Brits first. Only then can we hope to reverse the worrying trends and build a prosperous future for all, not just the privileged few. While you're here, please do leave this video a comment, like it too, and subscribe to GB News YouTube channel for more content like this.